Hi everybody, we have another art video for you today. Let's find out what it's going to be about. Let's spell V-I-D-E-O. The message is basic origami. So I don't know if any of you remember this little origami folded toy that we used to make. I remember in elementary and junior high we used to make these, and we put messages on them, and you could lift up the flaps and see all kinds of little fun messages underneath there. So what we're going to do today is talk about origami, just some basic folding techniques, some little simple things you can make, but also how origami is associated with STEM subjects, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And we're going to look at some of those examples, and I hope you'll have fun. So grab some paper. This can be just copy paper. It can be construction paper. Grab some papers, and then we're going to get started. So let's ask the question, what is origami and how is it used? Well, traditionally, we think of origami as perhaps the Japanese art of paper folding, which dates back to about 1,000 years ago. But despite its ancient tradition, more practical applications have emerged within maybe the past 50 years or so. Origami is being used by companies and researchers in space, medicine, robotics, architecture, public safety, and the military, and that's to solve hard design problems. And lots of times that's to fit large things into small spaces. So in architecture, an origami design might be used for aesthetic purposes, but it can also be used to provide structural performance, to reduce energy demands, or maybe to develop a building that responds well to the environment and the climate that they are in, of where they're building the structure. As we move on into the medical field, we can see in this one slide that origami has been used to develop medical stents. The compact design, the flexible foldable delivery method enables for easier delivery into the vascular system, perhaps, and then it can be expanded into what it's needed to be as a stent. You can also look here on this slide and see where it's been used to deploy airbags in our cars. A way of making something small that can expand. Then, as we look at how it's used in space, NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab has the lead in origami space engineering. And they've found ways to compress something into a small package that can be deployed into space and then enlarged. It can be unfolded where it's needed to be used in outer space. So these are just some real interesting little tidbits. If you look this up on the web or check out books, whatever, you can find some interesting information on this. To start with, what are some of the materials you need to make origami? Basically, it's just your hands with folding, different types of papers. You might want to start out by using just regular, 24-pound copy paper. This is a thinner paper that I got. It was wrapping paper, and I got this at the dollar store. You can use something like that. And then I went to a hobby store, and I found some larger sheets, 12 by 12 inches. And I think this was 65 pound. So what you're going to make kind of determines what weight of paper that you want. For instance, if you were making this box, and I'll show you how to do this in a little bit. I may want a heavier paper to withstand and hold up to what's going to be inside of it. Whereas if I have something that has lots of little tiny folds, then maybe I want to start with a thinner paper where I can accurately make those folds and tuck things in. So let's take a look at how we can make this fun little toy. You can call it a cootie catcher, you can call it a fortune teller, but let's take this apart and kind of figure out how you can make one. The first thing you're going to do is take a piece of square paper, and I'm just using construction paper on this. You're going to fold it in half this way. I'm going to flip it and fold it in half the other way. Open it up. Fold each corner in on all sides. So I've got all 4 of these folded in. Then I'm going to flip the whole thing over, and I'm going to take each corner and take it to the center point. So I've got it folded, all the corners folded in. Then I'm going to flip it over. This is where your fingers are going to go. You can kind of fold it like this, and then put your fingers in there. Oops. And then you've got this. And what we used to do is on each of these little flaps, there would be words, numbers, colors, that each time you you did this, your person that you were doing this with would have to choose a color or a number, and then that would give them some kind of message. So have fun with this. Okay, let's start with how to make a box. And I started with this 12 by 12 sheet of paper. And like I said, I think this is a 65-pound paper. I started folding on this one, so I'll continue on this one. When I make the lid, this could be the top of the box or the bottom of the box, but the lid needs to be 1/4 of an inch bigger. So if this becomes the bottom of the box, then for my lid, I'm going to make it 12 1/4 by 12 1/4. So let me just start off with, real simply, showing you how to do this. You're going to turn it like a diamond, and you're going to fold it. And what I use sometimes is my fingernail, or you can use the side of your scissors to get a nice crease. Sometimes you're folding just to mark an area, but if you want a nice crease, you can use a bone folder or the edge of a spoon, anything like that. Now I flipped it around, and I'm going to do another fold this way. So I'm going to, on this one, draw those lines. You see how I made the full diagonal? It's like an X. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is take each corner, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and take the edge of that corner, and I'm going to fold it up right to where it meets that center point. Then I'm going to fold it again. And this is where you want to make sure that you aren't going over that center fold. Okay? So I'm going to do that to every single edge, and then I'll come back and show you what we do next. Okay, do you see how I've taken every single corner, folded it to the center, then folded it again to where it meets the center fold? I've done that on all my sides. And when I open it back up, you're going to find that there is a square in here. I went ahead and marked it. That square is going to be the bottom of your box, the floor of your box. So what you're going to do now is take your scissors, and you're going to cut from this point all the way down to that corner of the floor of your box. You're going to cut from here all the way to here. You're going to cut from here all the way to here. So you make 4 cuts, but don't go past the corner of your box. And I went ahead and just made sure that I marked that. Okay, do you see how I've gotten these 4 cuts made? So what I'm going to do now is start with the long sides. not the little short ones. And I'm gonna fold it like that. Fold the sides in. The end result is that you're going to take that short side and fold it over the long side. And do you see how they all, can you see how they all meet in the middle? And I always take a little piece of tape and tape it, or a little dab of glue. So let me get this whole thing folded. Remember, I'm just starting with the long side. I fold that in to where the tip meets the bottom of the box. Fold it like that, and I fold these edges in. Then I'm going to use the short side to come over and hold that long side in place. So let me finish folding this and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I've got my box folded, at least the bottom part of it, and I went ahead and took a little glue and put it at the bottom to hold those flaps together. And if I want to make a lid for it, I'm going to make it just a tiny bit bigger, a 1/4 of an inch bigger, so it will fit over the top. And here's an example of one that I did. I think that paper might have been a little thinner, but holds up pretty good. And what I did was take another piece of decorative paper and glue it to the bottom and the top, glue it to the lid and the bottom of the box. And that way it's just more decorative. But you see how they fit together? So let's make a box divider to fit into the box I just made. First thing, we're going to take a square piece of paper, fold over left to right, right to left, both sides, and crease it. Then I'm going to fold one corner up to have that marked. Then I'm going to take the top part and fold it down to that corner. And I'm just trying to make creases. I'm going to unfold both of those. And I'm going to fold the bottom up to that top line. Then I'm going to go on all 4 corners and I'm going to fold it in to make those triangles. Make sure that you're matching up where the creases are when you do this. Okay, then I'm going to start folding on all sides. The bottom, fold it to the bottom, fold it up, and notice how I'm not overlapping those corners. I'm trying to just make a nice little seam there. So I'm doing that on all 4 sides. Then I'm going to fold the entire piece up to the top, make sure it's even and crease nicely, unfold it, do the same thing on the other side. So I end up with creases going both directions. Flip it over, fold the bottom point up to the top point, making a triangle, unfold it, turn it around, do the same thing to the other corner. So I've got kind of an X there, but look how those two, I can pull those center parts together and make a triangle. It just kind of automatically folds like that. Then I'm going to fold the bottom part up. I'm going to open it up, and do you see how I just folded this all down and it made a divider? So here is my box with the box dividers in there. I went ahead and took the double stick tape and I taped the pieces together just to secure them, and also taped it into the box. But this is kind of a cool little thing to do if you want dividers in your folded origami box. Let's work on making a gift bag. This is simple. You're going to need probably a ruler, a glue stick, and a piece of copier paper. And I didn't have any that had a print on it, So I just went ahead and chose this yellow that we can do as kind of a tutorial on how to fold this. So what you're going to do is take this paper and lay it horizontal. This is 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to go over here and fold the right to the left just to mark the center. That's what I'm going to do here. Okay. And once I get that done, I'm going to move the left over to that center mark. Make a nice crease. And then I'm going to move the right over, but I'm going to go a little bit over that center crease. Now this is the part where I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a little glue on this, on the edges. Just along the edge to hold this. Okay, I want to get that. Make sure that's nice and attached. Then I'm going to go ahead and fold up the bottom. I'm going to take this left side and I'm going to fold that up to where it meets the seam. I don't know if you can see that, but you see where that meets the seam right there? Then I want to take my ruler. I want to make sure that I'm getting this even. So with the ruler, I'm going to make that my next corner that I fold up. I can put the ruler aside. Make sure that is nice and creased nicely. Then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to take the bottom and I'm going to fold it right to that edge. Once again, I'm going to make sure that is nice and creased. Then I'm going to open it up. If I can get my fingers in there. I'm going to open it up and fold it like that. You see how it just kind of falls into place that way? Okay, so I've got that nice and folded. And the next thing I'm going to do is fold this bottom flap up, but I'm going to overlap. I'm not going to fold it right on the edge. I'm going to overlap it a little. And I'm going to come in here and add some glue. A little bit of glue here. There we go. I'm going to fold that up. Make sure it's creased. Make sure it's glued. Then I'm going to, before I do the bottom part, before I finish that, I'm going to take this corner and I want you to see where I'm folding this. I'm going to do this to both sides. I'm going to fold it over, and the way I'm lining that up is, do you see where that's just meeting that one piece of paper? Okay, I'm going to do that on the other side. Right there. Let's meeting that. I'm trying to get it nice and straight. Make sure that is nice and folded. Then I'm going to take what I started to do earlier. I'm going to take this top flap and I'm going to fold it down right about here. And I'm trying to get it even, trying to get it straight. Let's see how that overlaps this part. I'm going to put some more glue on this. Use a glue stick. Now this is the part where I always kind of like to let the glue go ahead. I don't think I need any more on there. I'm not going to use it again. I'm going to put the glue away. Give it a few minutes to dry. Your next step is, while this is drying, is to go ahead and fold your top part here to where it touches or meets that bottom part. Make a crease. And this is where you're going to start folding your pleats. And that's going to be a bow on top. So I'm going to fold in half. And fold that in half. I'll keep folding these pleats in half until I get them nice and thin and they're fairly even. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and show you how we'll finish up. Okay, I want to show you how I folded this. I kept folding these thinner and thinner to where it's like an accordion fold. That's going to be our bow on top. But now we're to a point where I'm going to straighten that out a little bit. And I'm going to stick my hand in there very gently and open up the bag. This is the bottom. This is the side. You kind of just have to kind of form it with your hands and keep kind of refolding a little bit. Fold that in a little bit. Okay, now I can kind of get these a little crisper, but I've got the bag basically made, and now what I'm going to do is refold on those little lines, those little accordion folds. Okay, I'm going to get this put together with a ribbon, and I think I'm going to put something inside of here so you can actually, so it has some volume to it, and I can tie a bow at the top. I'll show you what it looks like here in just a second. Well, this is my final piece. What I ended up doing was taking some ribbon and I wrapped it around, taped it on the back or up toward the top, and it forms a fan at the top. So depending on how deep you make your pleats, you can make that fan. I've done it to where it comes all the way together. This was a little short, not enough pleats to do that. But if it comes all the way together, you can glue them or tape them, and then you'll have one big half circle fan. But this is kind of fun, just to make some sacks and an easy way to package some gifts that you might have. Practice folding something called a bamboo letter fold. This is, the paper that you need is 8 1/4 by 11 3/4. And if you wanted to make one smaller, you just would divide that in half. And you need to kind of have those dimensions for it to fold in correctly and to tuck under. Okay, let's start folding the bamboo letter fold. We're going to first of all take the right side, fold it all the way over, and we have our paper vertical with this. So we're going to fold the right side over to the left to where the edges meet. We're going to unfold it, we're going to take that top right corner and pull it down, and it's going to meet up with that center fold, that center crease. Going to do the same thing with the bottom. Then I'm going to take the left side and fold over to the center. So this is what you end up, what that looks like. Now I'm going to take the top left right here, and I'm going to pull it all the way down so that the bottom edge of that meets up with the other flap that I made. So it looks like this. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the bottom. Okay, then take the right side again and fold it over toward the middle. And when I did this, you notice I didn't take the edge and try to fold this edge over into it. I tried to meet my fold right where that edge was. Fold it over. Okay. Now what you're going to do is take this whole thing, turn it over for the smooth side. Next, take the right side, fold it all the way over, and the way I'm guiding that fold is right here at the corner. So I'm using that as kind of my guide, folding it over, keeping it straight with the edge. Do the same thing over on the left side, but notice that when you fold it over, now you can take the top part, and if you guys can see this, it makes a little tab. I can fold it right in there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I've got it this way, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take the top right corner, I'm going to fold it down to where the edge meets that center seam. Then I'm going to fold, do the same thing over here on the left side, but once again you'll notice there's a little place that you can, like a tab that you can put in that holds it all together. So as you flip it over, you start seeing that the paper goes in the direction of like a bamboo. They call that a bamboo letter fold. Let's look at how to make another type of letter fold. We did the bamboo letter fold. We're going to do something a little different. This is pretty simple. I've got a square piece of paper. I'm going to put it diamond and from corner to corner. I'm going to fold up. I like to mark the center, so I'm going to also fold this direction. You could maybe not do a heavy crease that way, but anyway, I kind of like to mark that center part. So I'm going to turn it, not this way, I'm going to turn it to where the tip goes to the center. Fold it all the way up. And then I'm going to fold over, and I think, you know, I'm going to maybe mark a half inch in to where I want to fold it. You can kind of make this any way you want to, but you need to fold in just a little bit. Fold that side over, get that little mark. Fold that side over. Because you're going to want this to not be right on the edge. You want to have a little overlap of this part. And I want to make sure that is in the center. Make sure I got that in the center. Okay, so once I've done that, I'll pull this out. Fold this over, and you see I'm kind of lining it up with the center line there. Then I'm gonna do this. And I'm just kind of telling you, if you get that center line off too much, it might be just a little crooked. So that center line, you can either mark it with a pencil or with a gentle fold. But do you see how that makes a little a paper fold? You've got a letter, and it hooks in. The tab will hook into the little piece that I folded right there. I want to show you a book that I made, a little small book, and it's with origami folds and basically simple paper, glue stick, and wrap this and show it to you. This little book folds out, and I'm going to get my supplies ready and I'll show you exactly how this works. It's pretty simple. It just requires some, like I said, some gluing and some folding. So let me show you what you need to do this. Okay, I've got my supplies ready. What you're going to need is a glue stick. You're going to need squares of paper. And I chose a thinner paper. On this book, I had an old catalog, or I don't remember what it was, but it was a printed pages, but it still had a nice folding quality to the paper. It wasn't too thick, in other words. So these were made out of 5-inch squares. So that's what we're going to start with this one. I'm going to set that aside. You're going to take each square, and this can be as many as you want. What you're going to do is fold this over, and you're going to crease it. You're going to open it up, fold it over again, and crease it. Okay, so you can see that I've got it this way. And sometimes when you're folding things, when the peaks go up, that's called the mountains. So I've got it this way. I'm going to flip it over to where these are valleys, and I'm going to make a diagonal fold. Sure you can see this. Okay, and with that diagonal fold, I can put it this way. And do you see how it just automatically, those two parts of the diagonal want to go in? So I'm folding it like this. And what I did to make this easier on the folding is I folded, left to right, right to left, with the peaks standing up. Then I flipped it over. So my diagonal fold is going in the opposite direction. These are valleys, and this right here, these are peaks. That enables you to close it up and fold it easier. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I will show you how we glue it together to create the book. Okay, let's look. I've gotten several of these folded, and let's look at how we put them together. If you're going to, you notice that on the first square, what I've done is take each square and I've overlapped it. This one on top, the other one underneath, like that. This one on top, the other one underneath. But if you notice that each one, the peaks, the mountains, are facing different directions. So mountains are up on this, mountains or valleys, they're going down on that one. Up, down. So when I get ready to glue this next piece on, instead of gluing it like this, flip it over. And I'm going to glue it like that. And if you keep alternating, that's going to make it easier to fold. Now, if you forget to do that, it's not the end of the world, because you can go ahead and just change the angle of the direction of the fold, and it'll still work. But let's see. Okay, there's that. Okay, you see how that's starting to come together? And once again, that on this last one, it kind of goes, it kind of like you look at and say, okay, mountain, valley, mountain, valley. Now we're going to do the mountain. So I'm going to glue it on this way. So if I keep alternating that, I will end up with a book like this that I can fold up and then spread out. And at the very end, what I did with this one, I just took cardboard And on that last flap, I just glued a little piece of cardboard. And this is kind of a fun, this started out to be a thank you, a little book that I was sending to someone. On the inside, I decorated it. I put words, collage papers, and then that's something besides a card, something I could give to someone. So have fun with this. You can make them all different sizes. These are just fun little books to make. Let's practice folding a heart. And I'm just going to use this paper that I got from the dollar store. It's kind of thin, but I think it'll still work. First of all, let's go ahead and fold this in half. I already started this, as you can see by some of the folds. And then fold it in half again. I turn it this way. Fold that in half. Okay, I'll fold that up, keep it right there. Flip it over. I'm going to take that center line, that center crease, and I'm going to fold my paper this way. Okay, I've folded like this. I'm going to flip it over. And the next thing is to take the right side, and I'm going to fold it in to where it meets the middle. Fold the left side in where it meets the middle. Then fold the top right here down to where that flap is. Fold the left side down. Okay, so I've got it folded like that. So now I'm going to not make a hard crease, but just start making a little bit of a fold to where I take the two tips, the bottom of the heart. I do that. And in order to hold this together, I'm going to take the top and slip it in that slot. And as I slip it into that slot, that's going to mean that I make the crease. I open up these top two flaps, just like this. And I know you can probably tell which way, where we're going with this and how it's going to turn out. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to fold the other side in this way, the top corners in. And fold these down. And when you flip it over, you end up with your origami heart. You might wonder if I ever did anything in school other than fold paper. But this is another one I remember from, I think, middle school, and it's a jumping frog. And let's see if we can get him to jump. We used to make these in all different sizes. Woo! I'm going to show you with a piece of paper. This was, I made this out of 24-pound, like a yellow copy paper. And I almost think I did that 8.5 by 8.5. It needs to be square format. And I almost think this was a little thick. I may try to find a paper that's a little thinner or go to a bigger size so I can show you how to fold this. Because as you can see, there are a lot of little creases and little folds in this one. I'm going to start with a bigger piece of paper to fold the jumping frog. And once you learn how to make this, you can go down to smaller square pieces, but this is a 12 by 12. The first step that we're going to do is fold the right over to the left, matching the edges. Then we're going to take the top right corner, fold it down to where it meets over here on the left. Make a crease that way. Then we're going to, let's see, I'm gonna make these, try to make these good creases. We're gonna unfold that, and we're gonna do the same thing on the left side. And what you'll have is, it'll create an X on your paper. You'll see that in just a second. So, do you see that X that it created? Okay, so the next step, we've unfolded that, and we're going to flip the paper over to the other side to where this is sticking up rather than indented. So I'm going to flip it over like that. Next step is to take the top, fold it down, and you're folding it so that your crease is right in the middle of where that X was. So when you open it back up, it's going to look like this. Okay? So I'm going to take, where this was sticking up, I'm going to flip it back over to where it's indented now. And I'm going to take these two sides and fold them in like this. And I'm trying to keep it, as I fold this, some of those creases can get off just a little bit. So I'm trying to keep it as accurate as possible. I think it'll still work, even if it's not quite perfect, but trying to keep it as accurate as possible. So there you have that. And our next step is to take the bottom and pull that all the way up to the bottom right here where the triangle is. And get that crease. And I can already tell this paper gets thick. The more you fold it, it just seems to be a little harder. But let's see if we got that. So I've got this bottom part pulled up. Next, I'm going to lift up this top flap, and I'm going to fold over the right. And it'll end, the right folding over is going to end right where these two are put together. So I'm folding that over. I'm going to lift up this top part, do the same thing over here. Get it nice and creased. And I think I said to you once before, earlier, that sometimes you can take the side of your scissors or a spoon, bone folder, to get those creases nice and strong. Okay. Now we're going to take, we've got this, it looks like a cute little house, but we're going to flip the bottom part up. You know, and thinking about this, when I was a kid in junior high, I used to make a whole bunch of little tiny frogs like this that would hop all over the place, and I just thought that was so fun, and I don't know how I managed to fold that paper. This has got so many folds in it. I don't know how I managed to do it. Maybe I was younger and had more nimble fingers. I don't know. But I folded that up. Then I'm going to take this right part, fold it down, take the left part, fold it down, and I'm almost thinking, if you make this, go with a thinner paper. This will work, but I'm just kind of thick. So now those last two steps where you fold it up, down, down. Now undo that, and we're going to fold it this way. But what I'm doing is I undid all that, and now I'm just kind of folding it out to where, you know how it looked like a house before? Now it looks like a little boat, a little sailboat. Looks like a sailboat. Now fold this down. Fold this down. It's going to be a little easier because of the crease that you had previously made. Now we're going to fold. This is where it starts getting tough with all this paper. We're going to make a diagonal fold like that. We're going to make a diagonal fold like that. Okay. The bottom diagonal fold. Now we're going to make a top diagonal fold. Another diagonal fold. And then we're going to take the whole bottom up to the top. And then our next step is to fold the back edge down, creating a pleat. Yeah, good luck with this one. That is going to be what makes the frog jump, because it's got so much pressure with that fold. So here's my frog. And because of that one pleat we just folded, whoa, he jumps. So hopefully on this video, I kind of did it in segments. And since it is a video, you can, at some point when this is, you know, on YouTube, you can go back and just take it step at a time and stop the video, make the different folds. I think this paper, this was 12 by 12, and I think it was 65-pound or 40-pound paper. That, I'm thinking it's a little thick, so I want to find the copy paper, the 24-pound copy paper, in a bigger size. And with that, I'm going to try to fold this again and see if it's easier to make all those final folds, because it got pretty tough in here trying to fold all that. I mean, it works, but I think a thinner paper might be better. So I'll try it again and come back. I found some 11 by 17 copy paper, which is thinner. It's thinner than what I used for this jumping frog. And I want to try folding that same pattern, but with this thinner paper. This is 11 by 11, so, and this paper started out 12 by 12. So it'll be a little smaller, but let's go through the steps real quick. Okay, fold the right over to the left. Got your square piece of paper, right over to the left. Crease it. Fold the right corner over to the left side, crease it. Left corner over to the right side and crease it. You end up with an X. Then you're going to flip it over, and in the middle of that X, fold it from the top down. Okay? Now notice how I flipped it over so that I've got the mountains that I'm going to pull in. Those are my mountain folds, and make a little triangle. Bring the bottom up to that area. Fold the right side in and crease it. Do the same on the left. Lift up a little flap and then fold the left side in. Okay, go ahead. I'm trying to get that just creased just right. And we said there's the little house. Okay, now I'm going to fold the bottom up to the bottom of that triangle. Crease it good. Fold down the right top, make a little triangle. Fold down the left top, make a little triangle. Sometimes you make these folds because you're going to come back in. You unfold things, but you'll come back in and use those folds. So now notice how I'm opening it up and I'm pulling that bottom part up. So we said that looks like the little sailboat. Okay, then I'm going to fold it down, both sides down. Then I'm going to make a diagonal fold. This is going to be the frog's little legs. Do that on both sides. Then I'm going to take the top a diagonal fold, left, a diagonal fold, fold the whole thing in half, crease it, pull it down again, and make a little pleat, and that's your jumping frog. I was trying to get that pleat just exactly right. It was a little crunch there. This little guy flips over. Okay, so have fun making these. Well, we're at the end of our video, and right now I'm looking at my table. I have just tons of little paper things I've folded. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We've learned how to make jumping frogs, how to make letter folds 2 different ways. We've learned how to do this little guy, little toys. We've made boxes, and in one of my boxes I even put a, where I can make 4 compartments, I put a divider. We've made origami hearts and a package design, a little sack, paper sack that you can, a handmade sack that you can wrap some gifts. So, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I just encourage you to keep playing with paper and just get some cheap copy paper and practice things. You can look on the internet, find tons of simple origami shapes and designs that you can fold. So have fun.